In our most recent Power Hour training, I got some great questions about how to trade when a stock isn't necessarily moving the same direction as the S&P 500. When this happens, we can have an opportunity to take what I call a switchback trade. Here's a snippet of that workshop.
Glenn said, so when the daily chart says bullish and the lower time frame says bearish, which one do you trade? Yes. 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 Great question, Glenn. What goal are you trying to accomplish? First question answered, Gwen, is are you okay trading against the direction of the market? If the answer is no, then you've already answered that question, only taken in the direction of the higher time frame, which is the daily chart. Okay? So yes, you are. Okay. Then only trade in the direction of the S&P 500 if that's the case. Right? Now, if you are the person that says, I will take it in both directions, I will trade in both directions, up and down. Right? Me, as an example, I will trade. My preference is to trade in the direction of. But if we were closed right now, Gwen, this is a switchback trade. If the market opens to the downside tomorrow and this stock drops, retests, and fails, I'll take the bearish trade for the day. For the day. And I won't be in it that long. Normally, I'm not in it the entire day. I'm out of it 10:30, 11 o'clock, the latest, normally, where I get out of that trade. Right? But I will take that intraday move against the overall position. I'm okay with that. Right? But some of you may not be. And for brand new traders, you shouldn't be okay with that. Your only trade should be the direction of the S&P 500. If you look at the S&P and you decipher that the S&P is bullish, then you should be taking bullish trades at this point. Taking counter trend trades should be left from someone more experienced as a trader. And do not take that as a negative. Never, ever, ever take the things that I tell you as I'm taking away your toy and you can't play with it. Haha, this is mine now. You can't have it. No, that's not me. Right? Yeah, this is one of my little stress balls. That's not me. This is me telling you, right? This is a hot stove. And I'm telling you it's hot. You're an adult. You're not a baby. If you want to touch the hot stove, I'm okay with it. It's your money. It's your account. You do what you want. My job as a coach is to make sure you get it. Once you get it, I'm free and clear. I sleep like a baby at night. Sleep like a baby. Gwen said, no, I don't mind trading any direction, and that is what I do. Yeah, and so there you go, Gwen. So now it's a matter of what's happening right now, right? If the market is down and you see an opportunity to take SPY, since that's what we're looking at, to the downside, and you want to trade in that overall bearish direction, that's okay. If the market's going up and you choose to trade a bearish trade, you know, if I took it as, here, let's do it this way. Least to most aggressive, right? SPX and stock, same direction. Right? That would be the least aggressive of anything we could do. Right? SPX, and I'm just going to use this as an example, right? Up. Just as an example, it could be down. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to use this as up, right? Stock down, right? This is more aggressive. Actually, no, let me do it this way. Not APX, SPX. I know what I want to say, I just can't write it out the way that I want to say it. If everything's moving in the same direction, it's the least aggressive. If you've got the market moving, let me say it out loud so I can maybe write it better. If you've got the overall market moving down and your stock is moving down, that is, okay, yeah. So if the SPX, the overall position is, okay, that's it. That's what's missing here. The SPX is up, but bearish. It's up bearish today. Maybe that'll do it. So the S&P 500 is moving up. The general direction is bullish. And today it's moving bearish. So today it's pulled back. And the stock is down, That's more aggressive than having everything in the same direction of what the S&P is. Let's stop there for a second. For this one here, the second one I put in there, SPX up, bearish today, as an example, stock down, that is more aggressive. Give me a 1 for yes, a 2 for no, if you understand what I'm talking about there. I know what I want to say. It's just, it's not coming out the way I want it to. It's nothing like live TV. I have friends of mine that are like, yo, I'm nuts. I would not be in front of people live doing stuff like this. I would have every answer written down and never get caught by somebody that I don't know how to answer what they say. Glenn said it's clear. Okay, good. So I'm getting all ones in here. All right, so that's good. All right, then I'm doing better at it than I thought, right? Right, and then the most aggressive would be SPX up today also. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is the S&P is at a bullish trend and it's up today. Stock is bearish, right? Most aggressive, right? Most aggressive. So if you take this little chart and work off of this and say, okay, which one of these is it? Now, we already use a rank of 1, 2, or 3 on our chart, okay? If you wanted to add one more step and give it another ranking, I would give it a letter, ABC, right? I would call this one an A. Right? I would call this one a B. And I would call this one an F. No, we'll give it a C. Right? A C. So which trade do you want to do? The A is the safest. If you are a brand new trader, and when I say brand new, if you've not been successful in trading at all, meaning you're fairly new at this, you've only got a handful of trades under your belt, you should not be doing anything other than the A ones, right? In my opinion, it's still your money. You still decide what you should do. If you were my family member, if you were my cousin, my brother, my sister-in-law, and I'm sitting down with you and my own children, that's exactly what I would tell them. I would say, don't do anything but this. You make the decision of what you want to do from there, as my kids will as well, right? S&P is up, B, right? S&P is up, right? But it's bearish today, so it's pulled back a little bit. The stock is down. It's more aggressive, but I'm taking an intraday trade trying to capture the overall momentum of the market. But those, in many cases, are short-lived moves. So when it's falling and it stops, it starts to vacillate, bounce a little bit, it's time to go. What if it drops more? What if it doesn't? Right? You can't worry about the what ifs. You got to make a stance and say, that's it. I'm pulling the trigger. I'm done. Right? And you walk away. All right? And the S&P is up, but general direction, it's up. And it's up today, and your stock is bearish. Right? That's more aggressive. But Rob, news drove it down today. I understand, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Right? Just understand, because of the overall movement of the market, if something is keeping the market up and your stock is going down, there could be a sympathy push for your stock to come back in price. That's all. Right, wrong, or indifferent, to me, it doesn't matter. You will make the ultimate decision on how to trade your positions. You'll make that final call. It's not me. Alex said, kind of like ski slopes being green, blue, or black. There you go. The ones that are my favorite, Alex, are the ones that have no ski slopes and no snow. I'm not skiing, so we're good. My kids love it. Although one of them did freak out on black and had to get help getting down, but they're brand new skier. Gwen said, where would you put this one? SPX is up. The stock is up today, but bearish on 5. And all other charts, I guess you mean 5 minutes. So, okay. If we look at the S&P 500, Gwen, right? So the S&P 500 has a bullish day, and it's pulled back today. Okay? It's pulled back today. Bullish candle, but we're lower by 15 points than we were on yesterday's close. So the hollow candle can be confusing sometimes. well, bearish on a 5-minute chart. So, okay. So what it sounds like, let me read it out one more time and then I'll explain it. So where would you put this one? SPX up. The stock is up today, but bearish on the 5-minute chart and all other charts, which is my day trade chart. Okay. So Gwen's trading off a 5-minute chart. So the initial decision comes from the daily chart, Gwen, of do I like this one or not? If I don't like what's on the day, I'm not trading what's on the intraday. In other words, unless I'm using the 882, we'll go back to SPY on this one for a moment, right? If I wanted to trade SPY, unless I'm using the 882, I ain't got a fib anywhere near it. So for me, there's no reason to take a trade on this one because there's nothing anywhere near that key level. But on the S&P 500, I've got an overall bullish move with a little bit of a pullback. If I can find what I would rather see then, Gwen, is on my 5-minute, I'd rather see the stocks pull back a little bit to another key level and bounce, right? Which Lily was kind of the opposite. We had to move down from it, but we're getting that move down on the S&P. I followed the direction of the S&P. Lily was already in a overall bearish pattern. Look what happened from the earnings, right? They got decimated, crushed. Actually, we're going to redraw fibs at this point on it. But I will tonight in pop. Now that we got the gap down and a few more days in there. So I don't base the 5-minute and say because the daily was this, the 5-minute was different, so I make an adjustment in there. The daily still makes my decision. Do I want to take a trade or not? And that's on S&P. S&P is direction based. Right now, I've got to relate it back to a stock chart on the 5-minute, Gwen. And if we're bearish on our stock chart, do you want to take the trade? If the answer is yes, great. If we're bearish, we're pulling back to support and we bounce as the S&P is bouncing up. Now the stars are aligning. Everything starts to come in alignment. Whereas they're not, way out in left field where everything is all over the place. You got one here, one there, one there. You're not all over the place. You've got some pattern associated with it. I hope that helps, Glenn. Let me